Oh, Addy, Daddy.
Kev.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Oh, Addy, Daddy.
Were you just waiting until we went live to do the Addy Daddy?
Yeah.
Great. Good. Good for us. What is the right... Okay. Let me know if the music's too loud. Not the people in Discord.
I see our drastically different PNGs.
This is why I was like, if you have a copy of it, send it to me and I'll cut the white stuff out real quick. But it's too late. You're sitting in the middle. Wait, I feel like I'm off to the side. I want to be part of the cozy puddle more.
I appreciate being on the casting couch.
Yeah.
I figured it was time to take guests off of the back of the couch and put them actually on the couch.
Ooh.
But yeah, welcome in everybody. Good job, Gravy, on grabbing first, and B on grabbing second. And hi to Spidey, and Kev, and Addy, and Piggy!
Yeah.
Piggy, you're not
Hi,
that
everybody.
late. We just started saying hi,
Oh,
so you're
Addy, Daddy.
Yeah, you're all good, Piggy.
Every time. Every time. Just every Wednesday, I have to listen to the "Oh Addy Daddy" over and over again.
I wouldn't trade this for the world. Nothing brings me this level of joy.
All right. Well, with Addy joyously relishing in her chaos, today is episode 3 of book club. Addy, ARsbc 3. Okay, ARsbc episode 3. And this time we read Elantris by Brandon Sanderson. Oh wait, Addy, I skipped the entire script. Should we go back and read the script?
Well, if you want to, yeah. Let's do it.
Okay, take 2! Welcome to the Addy and Rina Show Book Club, ARsbc, where we catch up on our reading, keep each other accountable on our to-be-read lists, and spend time together. I'm Rina, and I like fantasy, history, mythology, folklore, anything, novels.
I'm Addy, and I like thrillers, romance, and mystery series. We're a pair of college besties trying to stay connected with each other and share our love of books with each other and with you. We read all kinds of stories, and we're taking recommendations for future episodes. Do need to do a quick cut here so that Kevin can do a little intro for himself. Kevin, who are you and what kind of books do you like to read?
Oh God. I'm Kevin. I read a ton of light novels, mostly light novels. I've been dragged into several book clubs, so now I read other things too. Um,
Maybe I
I
should
would say
add light novels to my list too.
most of them are, I would say, high fantasy, except one book club I'm a part of that apparently drags me kicking and screaming into only reading romance.
For real though, they really
Give me
do.
that list.
No, you don't need the list.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, that book club is wondrous, and there's one book that I really like that we've had done so far, which was Fates That Bind, but it is mostly romance. The rest of the books have been mostly romance.
Dress
Aside
the
from that-
Bind was also so romance.
Yeah, but that one at least had the like stark noir detective feel.
It did. It was noir, detective, fantasy, romance. In that order.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Maybe I'll
and
make you read
Greek
it someday,
mythology
Addy.
and Greek
I was gonna
mythology.
say.
It did.
Ooh.
It was a big pull. It was the first book I read when I joined his book club.
It's all the things we love.
100%
Yeah,
oh shit! We
mostly
got
light novels. My current read is He Who Fights Monsters.
Ooh.
Alright. Sorry, I had to pin the 100% spicy.
Yeah.
Congratulations,
100%
Spidey
spicy is rare.
is 100% spicy today. Oh, and Pinky is 97%. Damn.
RN Jesus is feeling generous today.
How do you do
Uh,
Exclamation point spicy.
Also, drink of
Oh,
the day
damn!
for me. Oh, we're all spicy up here. Okay.
Like, should I do it too? Addy, your turn. Unless you already did it. I want to know.
Let me get in there. I just need to finish my sip of sparkling fizzante.
Yeah, gravy.
I'm sorry, sparkling what?
I have a peach Italian wine cocktail in a can, Simply Wines brand, and it just says fizzante.
I got Orange Crush.
Fizzante.
Yeah.
Okay, so Addy, you are the least spicy of all of us today.
Honestly, that does feel accurate.
And I'm a solid middling.
Yeah.
Me at 99%? Oh
Yeah.
no.
Honestly, I usually pin 99% because I don't expect people to get 100. But you lost the pin because Spidey got to 100.
Damn. That's crazy.
So we invited Kevin today as an expert in the field.
Oh, but I just also unironically so happened to be reading Elantris at the exact same time. Rina was like, "Oh, I'm doing Elantris for the next book club or my next book talk with Addy," and I was like, "I literally just finished that book."
It's fate intervened and brought us together to have Elantris talk about. Pinky, this is a first, but it's also only the third episode, so I think
I was winging it.
Book club. If it's a book that you've read that you feel particularly passionate about, we are open to guests on book club. I'm just going to make that a blanket statement.
I also didn't ask you to be a guest because I was like, isn't she supposed to be at work? So if you're not at work, feel free to just join the call. I don't care. Because Elantris is one of her favorite books too.
So I straight ripped a nice little blurb from Wikipedia, and then I modified it slightly. So, but I wanted to give it a little intro, unless you'd like to read it, because this week was your pick, Rina.
Oh no, the intros are always yours. You rip them from the internet. You read them.
Great. All right. Elantris is a fantasy novel written by American fantasy and science fiction writer Brandon Sanderson. The book was published in 2005 by Tor Books and was Sanderson's first published book. Brandon Sanderson is an American high fantasy and science fiction author who is widely known in book talk circles as a definitive author of this generation. His work includes the Mistborn series, the Stormlight Archive, the final 3 books of the Wheel of Time, and many other works. So, I had never actually read any Brandon Sanderson novels before this. I have seen many posts on Book Talk about his work. So I was pretty excited going into this
He is all over
session. I was going to say, Book Talk pretty much divides itself between A Court of Thorns and Roses and Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere.
Yeah, side note, Kevin and I share a distaste for ACOTAR, so...
It's crazy because I'm being forced to read it by my partner, and I'm on book 5 now, and it doesn't get better.
Didn't assume that it would. I read half of the first book, thought, this is too much even for me.
See, and I like,
Wait, guys, this isn't the book we're talking about today.
A Court of Silver Flames, book 5 of ACOTAR.
We're talking, yeah, A Court of Thorns and Roses is the first book.
Pinky
but,
just asked
yeah.
book 5 of what. So, I unironically do recommend Crescent City. I think it is a much better series than ACOTAR by the same author.
Close enough.
Slightly less romance and more detective work. There's still a lot, but it's more bearable than ACOTAR.
Yeah, I think I'll try that one. That might be a future read for us, but ACOTAR definitely won't because I cannot force anyone to read ACOTAR. Like, it's...
Valid. So, do you want to talk about Elantris? Do you want to start the discussion? Do you want to let Kevin kick us off?
Kevin, do you want to kick it off with your fun fact?
Okay, so Addy.
Yeah.
How first off, what was the medium in which you consumed this book? Are you an Audible person? Are you a physical book? How did you read? How did you get this?
I read this on Kindle.
I do a lot of Audible. This is one of my Audible listens. I appreciate how it's read in the dramatic audio. In that it's a little more dramatic when it happens. I don't know if it comes across that way when you listen, but towards the end of the book, when they're talking explicitly about how to get from Elantris all the way over to Teod, the like sister city that Serena is from, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you pick up the fact that in that short, brief paragraph, he invents the British metric foot?
No, I didn't.
He doesn't have a measurement in that world, and then he immediately uses his own feet to measure, and then calculates based off that. He invents the British metric foot.
Well, that is infuriating. What?
Also, to answer you, on Audible is actually the graphic audio from the 20-year release. It is free currently on Audible.
Wait, what? Oh, maybe I should get that.
Is there spice?
I got asked what version I listened to.
Addy was like, "Is there spice?" I know. I'm sorry.
You
there was
read the book.
severe lack of spice.
I wondered if there was
for
bonus
you.
spice content.
You read the book.
No, there was not bonus spice content.
There was literally no. This was a white people cookout, okay?
It was
no
so good.
seasoning.
There was
Right.
no. Yeah, there was no spice. It was fine.
There was raisins in the potato salad level.
I
There
don't
was
know
no
if
spice.
I don't know if that link will work, but that is the version I listened to. That's
It-
free.
It got blocked. Let me see. Can I?
I mean, there's some love, but I would never call any of it spice.
No.
Yeah, no. I
I-
sent you both the TikTok of someone putting together Cosmere novels, and they were just throwing rice into a pan, but they had a piece of paper that said what that rice was, and it was like, you know, made up fictional curse words or world specific curse words, and it was like a half pan full of that, and then it was spice, and there was a single piece of rice. And I was like, yeah, that feels very accurate to both of those.
Listen, I realize that I'm kind of a thirsty bitch when it comes to my reading material, but
It's okay.
no spice, none. I'm knocking it a point off my final rating. I'm knocking it a point just for that.
Put the
Hold on,
link in
hold on,
Discord.
hold on.
Put the link in Discord.
Oh, I'm terrible. That is a much better option. We're right. ARsbc chat.
Anywhere.
Okay, in absolute transparency,
There you go.
I don't.
I'm on the Discord.
I'm not mad at the lack of spice. I did feel like the romance part was really like not forced, but like it just felt like it kind of came out of nowhere. Like they spent forever.
Oh my god. So Rina
Telling
was
us
so
details.
thirsty.
Okay, first off, hold on.
So thirsty.
She had been sending letters to Ryoden for over a year before she came over to get married to her long-lost prince, who he wasn't there. What do you
I
mean?
know. Okay,
No,
I realized
but then
that.
everyone else was like, man, you're thirsting over that, over shooting, right? And she was like, I'm not. I'm just thirsty. It's not him specifically.
Yeah, she was like, it's not him specifically.
But he was shredded.
That did help.
The way the women swim
Also-
in this book.
Like the magic Tai Chi he was doing made me happy.
Oh my god.
Also, Pinky, she was supposed to be smart, but she also never liked anyone before.
That's fair.
Okay.
That is fair.
She's supposed to be smart, but it's in a world where essentially every woman is viewed as a knitting, doing cross-stitch, bumbling fool.
Whoa, not a world, just a country.
Yeah, oh, that's fair. That's true. You're right. A country.
Like she's pretty specific that like in her own country she was a little bit aggressive for a woman, but not like it was normal for women to like fence and be active in court and all of that. Like she was just
true.
a little bit beyond what the normal like behavior would be versus like I guess they just expect women to like sit around and knit. You're right.
Do I need to make a smut reading stream like a birthday stream goal or something? The amount of
You wanted-
times.
You wanted a smut reading stream?
Yeah. We already decided the book, right? It was Get in My Swamp.
No,
Cool.
oh, I thought it was gonna be Ogre Daddy. But I mean, either one, they're both free on Kindle, so.
As they should.
It's
Okay.
not for next episode, but one of the ones on my list is the first book of the Bridgerton series, and that could be a realistic option for a smut reading stream.
You could read Bridgerton. Okay. Note taken. Alright, Pinky asked us, how did everyone feel about the world building? I really liked it. And I liked that it really just kind of threw you into everything. And the point where that, like, most struck home with me was when Serena was confronting Eoden, however you say his name, Eoden? The king that died.
Yeah.
And he, like, just screamed a curse at her, and it was complete nonsense. Like, it was just words you'd never heard at any point in the book before or after.
Mm.
And I was like, what the fuck? And then she went on a whole rant about how she had only heard that phrase like 3 times in her life because it was such a bad curse word. And I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
I
I will
owed it.
say it was super immersive, which I did appreciate. Like the world building was top tier.
So, I enjoyed the world building. I am excited for some other books to learn more about the Cosmere because I feel like I wanted more context into the magic system.
Yes.
What I have
And-
heard is that all of his other books are much more in-depth about the magic system.
Yeah, so have I.
And we were talking about this the other day. Like, this one has the least fleshed out sort of magic system. And part of it is because the plot is rebuilding the magic system. So,
Mm.
obviously, there's not going to be a fleshed out magic system for us to work with from the get-go.
Yeah, and I will say on a very related note, the only thing that kind of jarred me about the story was the weird like sorry. I mean, it's not a spoiler because we were going to be talking about the plot of the novel, so I'm just going to jump in. But it like really jarred me when he kind of like Deus Ex Machina, like, oh, I figured it out on my way to death. Like,
Oh,
they
yeah.
were about to throw him to the pool, and I was like, oh, all right, so we got it now.
I did talk to someone about it. It felt very much like there should have been a second book or like a second half of this book of him figuring it out, and it just never came. Like he hurried to the end.
Yeah. Like,
and I think a part of that is the book was longer, and he cut out an entire character who was an antagonist. And so that whole part of fighting against that specific antagonist got condensed down.
Okay, well that's fair. But it was kind of like a little frustrating that I felt like the pacing was thrown off because like we spent so long learning.
I legit just thought he was gonna die, and I was like, oh well, someone else, Serena will figure it out.
Yeah. Well, I didn't think that he was gonna die because
I was just like, fuck him, he's gone.
See, I really did think. That's why I kind of
wanted him to die.
It really was a rushed ending. It could have been a 2-book series.
Yeah, I think maybe been more happy with the pacing on a 2-book series.
That's the other thing is like they only just started figuring out how the magic system worked, and it ended. Like,
yeah,
and suddenly he's a god at it,
and we're done.
Like I would have definitely happily read a second book where he goes and gets her back, and like figures out the magic.
Yeah,
but
or figures out the magic at the end, but goes to book 2 to figure out all the problems.
Or like goes and fights the Wyrn. You
Yeah,
know,
Wyrn
there are plot holes we could deal with.
I was gonna say, like the conclusion of the book, we kind of still had like, oh, okay, like I guess the evil empire has kind of taken over the entire world minus the one city.
Well, Teod technically isn't taken yet.
I mean, it kind of is. The king converted, and the people, like, there's an occupying army. I guess you're right.
I mean, he converted
They stopped that.
Yeah, it's not looking great
they
for him.
killed the army. They got rid of the army.
Yeah, they defeated it and saved the king and got rid of the priests.
They didn't kill off the army. They did kill off like the one sect of monks that was hanging out there. But like
no.
It
was in tiny text. It was in like one sentence that they dealt with the rest of the army.
Yeah, the king sent out his navy and they were able to intercept them.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I was reading very attentively because I was born on the plane. But
it was really just like one sentence done.
Okay. Normally, I would blame myself for missing something in the text, but if it was one sentence, I really feel like I'm excused from that.
That's why I'm like, there's so much more we could have done to like further learn more about the system and figure things out instead of just Deus Ex divine revelationing how to fix everything.
Yeah, right. And I will say, like, this is not to knock the book because I did truly enjoy it, but like I felt like, I mean, Pinky mentioned this too, but like
Pinky, oh my god.
The first 2 sections were paced perfectly, in my opinion. Like
Pinky, I had to backtrack for Karada because they were like, and we put down a gravestone for Karada, and I was like, well, why? Why? I thought Karada survived when you made everybody Elantrians, and I had to go back, and I was like, oh, I guess because they cut her head off, she didn't get healed like everyone else, and I was like, god damn.
Yeah,
hard to come back from no head.
Yeah, I mean, yes, hard to come back.
Well,
from no
somebody
head,
did come back from being cut in half.
Yeah.
but that half was connected to their head.
Jesus, all right.
A bunch of people were lit on fire and they survived, and that was fine too.
I didn't think the fire people survived.
They lit the pyre on fire and it was burning when the Elantrians became Elantrians once more.
Also, for the record, the Prince Raedon was the only one studying the Aeons, and he was kind of like, I don't know, after school tutoring his buddy Galadon, and they're the only two that should know fucking anything about Aeon, like the magic.
There was the old Elantrian that had lost his way.
They killed him. They let him die, right?
They let him die, but that doesn't mean that there weren't any others.
Well, I know, but like, Galadon showed up with a whole army of people who knew how to use the magic, and I'm like, that could have gone horribly.
I probably could. I wanted to ask, what did you guys think about the last book we read and this book as well? Both had different perspectives per chapter. Did you like it this time? Did you not like it? What do you think about the like switching between? God, it was like 5 people, right? It was
mostly but mostly Sereni and Riordan.
Yeah,
Rathan or whatever his name is.
Yeah, solid bit of the Gjorn.
Rathan.
It's interesting because you guys keep saying the names in a completely different way than what I pronounce them in my head.
Well, I'm saying them how I pronounced them, and then you know, Kev and Pinky actually listened to the audiobook and know how other people said
I'm saying
them.
how the audiobook says it.
I was gonna say, it just like, you're right, but it throws me off, you know what I mean?
It's fun though.
I would not call it rapid POV switches. You got decent, like a decent chapter of each one. It wasn't like it was like 3 pages of a chapter.
Harathon had a couple that were like pretty short, like 2 pages. Like,
I think Hrathan's the most underrated character.
So the next question I love him. He's probably my favorite character in the whole book.
Having literally risen 7 days later, I think my man was genius. He had the plan.
5, right? Days.
Yeah, it's like 5. It was 5 days. But
yeah, he was spot on. I liked him a lot. I did feel like, I don't know, felt like Sanderson kind of did him dirty because he was really forced in. He was like, oh, by the way, he's in love with the princess. And I was like, man.
He was just in love with, like, the rivalry, the having someone who can actually put a wrench in your plans.
Yeah, but I mean,
because no one else was putting any fight up against him. Everything that tripped him up in any way was Sereni.
I know. I feel like it could have been a rivalry till the end, and then they like, I don't know, like forced kind of a romantic subplot that nobody asked for in there.
I still don't think it was romantic. I viewed it more of like a rival lover, like having love and respect for your rival.
Let me pull up my reference.
I know he was very vague about it specifically because it was a matter of just like, well, we don't really want to say he's in love with her particularly. If that makes sense.
The plot twist with Dilaf being like secretly the head monk of the monastery I did not see that coming at all.
Dilaf suddenly being shredded was a bit much to me.
Yeah,
reading back, like when I was listening to the audiobook after I finished it, I was listening in on like Pinky's listening of it, the listening party, and knowing who he was and going back, it was there. It was just so hard to pick up because you didn't know that those monks existed.
Yeah.
So all the foreshadowing needed for it is there, but you didn't. Everything except for the fact that those monks existed was there.
True. Sanderson did an excellent job of like burying the lead on that one.
Yeah, he was just so shredded, and so his bones were so tough.
The bones thing kind of weirded me out. I'm glad I didn't have to listen to that part because I probably would have wigged out and been like, no thanks.
I know, I was like, bleh, stop, stop
like,
describing it.
This is gross.
It comes to my favorite character in ACOTAR, the Bone Carver. Sorry. How did you feel? Okay, how did you feel about the women's reaction to fencing?
I liked it.
I feel like in their initial response of, a woman can't do that, felt
Condescending.
Yeah.
But it didn't.
Right?
It didn't feel like an author's condescension so much as a reinforcement of how the society had functioned up to that point.
No, I just like these women ostensibly know that other countries exist where women aren't treated that way. So like the fact that they're shocked about it felt a little like,
I don't know that they do. Like, I think they think that's how it is globally. I don't know that that's how. I don't think they're told that other countries got it different.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it is so hot.
It is very, very warm in the coastal U.S. right now.
Yeah. I might as well have not showered because I'm gonna need to shower before bed again.
I'm sorry.
Have you considered making your house colder?
I have the AC on. It's just not doing what I want it to do.
Okay.
Sorry.
Oh, you're fine. I was just gonna ask about the book again because I asked about different perspectives. What did you guys think about the the climactic final chapter? It wasn't like actually the final chapter, but where it was just like 2 sentences in each point of view. Did you like that? Did you hate it?
Oh, I thought it was really, really well done. But also I would get like very invested in a certain portion of what we were talking about. Like, oh, we're in Elantris. We're back in Teod. We're back in Elantris. We're back in Teod. We're back in Elantris.
That's fair.
And I was like, no, like, wait, what happened to Serene? What happened? No, wait, no, go back to Ryan. Like, I don't understand. Are you just leaving it there?
I was a little worried we were gonna cliffhanger and not know what would not know.
That's what I was like, this is where we start book 2 into duology. And then we were like, nah, teleport. And I was like, oh, a teleflort, okay.
Lord.
I was like, I guess this is just what we're doing now.
Also, interesting conversation point that we can maybe dig into. Brandon Sanderson has published or come up with Sanderson's Laws of Magic. Are you familiar?
No.
Okay. He has 3 laws of magic and then a 0th law. So 4. 4 laws of magic.
It doesn't seem like 3 laws of magic.
Yeah, okay. So he says 1, an author's ability to solve conflict with magic is directly proportional to how well the reader understands said magic. 2, weaknesses, limits, and costs are more interesting than powers. 3, the author should expand on what is already a part of the magic system before something entirely new is added, as this may otherwise entirely change how the magic system fits into the fictional world. And then the 0th law is always err on the side of what's awesome. And I feel like he leaned heavily on the zeroth law and not very hard on the other 3 laws for this novel. Like I feel like his own book breaks at least one of these laws, which is an author's ability to solve conflict with magic is directly proportional to how well the reader understands said magic. And I didn't understand shit.
Oh,
but we
I
probably
felt
solved
like
the entire book with magic.
I felt like I understood it pretty well, but I did feel like I would have really appreciated more, like, I don't know, embellishments almost. Like, in the book itself, if he had added drawings of the aeons to, like, the chapters or something, or, like, the index at the end just had the aeons, and if it could have, like, an aeon with an example embellishment, because Rodin was talking about, you know, you add like a ton of stuff around the edges to make it specific and do certain things. Otherwise, it's just like you told it light. Who knows what the fuck's gonna happen?
Yeah. I mean, I would say that they did give us a lot of understanding of that, but like, I don't know. I just felt like Raoden did a lot of studying of the magic system, but not a ton of that got conveyed to the reader. I'm with you on like I could have used a visual aid for sure.
Yeah, I wanted an Aeon alphabet at the end so I could see what each one did.
And Pinky is fun. Those rules were come up with I guess he came up with them. I think also after he published this book. So
on that point,
the beginnings of them, you can see the beginnings of the rules forming in this book, but I do feel like we were a little loosey goosey with these so-called laws of magic.
There's 2 more things I want to cover. One is, did you notice in the proper epilogue chapter, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Hoid? Like, Hoid is how it's pronounced. The beggar. Hoid?
Yeah. I called it Hoid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hoid. Okay.
No.
I just was like Hoid, and they're the same word, but they're different things. And it confused me a lot, but it's fine. Hoed is the Elantrians who were lost in the mental space due to a significant injury. And Hoid was the beggar person who connects this book to all of the rest of the books that Brandon Sanderson has written.
I've recently learned there's another walker in this book.
Yeah, and not just the fact that he's a walker, but the fact that he starts he shows you that it's not just this like planet, and then you go into the appendix right after the epilogue, and it starts talking about shards and how all of the magic on this world was probably a shard that got embedded in the core of the planet at some point, and like opens you up all of a sudden from just, you know, working on this continent to we read a whole book about just this continent, but now we're thinking on the scale of a whole universe out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And that, I was like, excuse me? I just finished this book? What the fuck are you talking about?
I just looked in the appendix because I was looking for your epilogue. I know he for sure gives us a list of aeons with pictures.
He did, but they're just that I'd like it if they were like scattered throughout the books.
Embedded, yeah.
That makes sense.
Also, he clearly states that every aeon starts with the same symbol. Not all of these have, like, there's not a consistent repeating thing here. So
that was the other thing.
Book,
I saw those at the end of the book, and I was like, where is the map of Arlon in here? I don't see it. It's fine though.
That's because you don't have the cavern at the end, you know.
Yeah,
it is a shame that Audible doesn't give you the pictures and stuff because you.
Oh yeah,
they
I have no clue. Yeah,
they gave you the book gives you a map of where everything is, zoomed in on Elantris to show you Elantris, and then zoomed out to show you Arlon as a continent, and then zoomed out again to show you, you know, where Teod is and where Fjordell is, and all of the different areas.
How kind of it.
Yep.
I
And
did not
it
get any
specifically
of that.
has the road that Shuden's family built and all of that on it.
Yeah, it was helpful. I referred back to the map pretty frequently towards the end of the book because I was like, all right, where the fuck are they? No.
Right.
How do the Fjorden people get there? Didn't they have to cross an ocean? And I was like, oh yeah, they're next door.
But they couldn't go through the mountains. That was important.
Yeah.
Okay. I have 1/2 more things I wanted to talk about, which basically are, I got the 10th anniversary edition, so it had a bunch of extra stuff added to the end of it. And something added to the beginning. So I wanted to tell the funny story that was in the foreword because I laughed a lot about it because it has to do with mythology. Apparently, Elantris was originally named Adonis. And when he gave it to his writing group to, like, read, they were like, this is really cool and interesting, but what does it have to do with Greek mythology? Is it set in Greece or something? Like a faux Greece? And he was like, no, what are you talking about? And they were like, well, Adonis, the Greek mythology story. And he was like, ah, shit, I thought I came up with that name. Damn it. And so he came up with a new name for Elantris.
Incredible.
So yeah, the original title of this was Adonis, and then he had to rename it because he wanted it to be a completely original name. So when he found out it wasn't, he was like, oh shit. So yeah, I like that a lot. Yeah, V, exactly. It's a male name. Like,
Yeah.
It's a male name, and it's, like,
I feel like
commonly known with Greek mythos origin, like...
I was gonna say, if it was something that wasn't that well known, like, I could understand thinking that you made it up if it was like, I don't know, to reference back to our previous book, like, if you're not very familiar with Greek mythology, I can see you not knowing the name Circe, right? But, like, Adonis is a commonly used term.
He's not, that's the thing, I don't think he's as common as Circe.
Adonis?
Adonis is a common, like, term for, like, oh, he's an Adonis, is like, oh, he's, like, a handsome, fit guy.
Yeah.
Like that's a
don't expect me to pronounce anything in Greek correctly.
Didn't you study that or something?
Ancient, it's different.
I feel Greek mythology is a part of ancient.
Yes, you did study Greek, Rina.
Yeah, ancient Greek. It's different.
In fairness, Adonis isn't as common in the U.S. and definitely not in Utah. I learned this when looking up the author bio, but Brandon Sanderson is Mormon, which makes a lot of sense considering the lack of spice.
There it is.
There's plenty of spice.
There's no spice.
There's no spice
really,
whatsoever.
Might be even too much spice.
There's literally zero spice. There's 1 grain of rice spice.
I'm not even sure that they kiss.
They do.
That's a lot to ask for.
They hug, but I think they kiss at their wedding.
I'm pretty sure they didn't. I was looking for any spice, Rina, and I didn't find it.
Yeah, Pinky. They kiss at the wedding. Addy had me going for a second. I was like, am I remembering a different book? And I was like, but I haven't read anything else. I don't know. They definitely kissed
actually,
at the wedding.
Hold on. Speaking of, at his first crowning, I thought it was both beautiful and ingenious of Serene being like, does it even matter if he's an Elantrian? The last two kings sucked ass.
True.
Right?
That, if I'm honest, not to get too political, because I don't want to do that here and now, but like it feels a lot like what we got going on right now. Like your previous options were so shitty. Does it even fucking matter anymore? Like at least you know this one's a good guy, you know? But we're missing the good guy.
Oh, and the other thing I wanted to bring up was I mentioned that they cut out a whole character. In the original draft, Rowden was supposed to have a brother.
Oh.
And he was referred to as the Mad Prince.
That could have really...
So, like, he was crazy from the start.
Oh, amazing.
And came and took the throne after Iodin died.
So there's
and
two
then they
other
had
books.
to fight him.
There's two books I haven't listened to, which are The Emperor's Soul and The Hope of Elantris are both apparently a part of the Elantris series. I don't know anything about them.
Me either. I've heard that they're not direct sequels, though.
Hope of Elantris is only 38 minutes. It's literally basically a chapter and a half.
I think both of them are like short stories that are supposed to be related to Elantris.
From what I understand, they are both directly during Elantris.
Are they really? I didn't see any characters in common in the Wikipedia entries, so I just glossed over it.
This story is meant to be heard after you finish the novel Elantris and takes place during the events of the climax.
Ah.
Now I want to know what the names were. Should I Google it? What's it called? Spirit of Elantris?
How much do we care about spoilers?
I don't know.
Not at all, I think.
I only ask because I've the other person I learned is a world walker like Hoyd is actually Kaisi, the daughter of her uncle, her cousin.
Oh.
So she apparently
the
is
girl
also in other books, yeah.
The young, somewhat annoying child.
Pinky, wait. What am I? I hope I'm not waiting.
Annoying.
Her and her six languages because a seventh would make you go mad.
Okay, she is annoying.
Oh, hey,
but also
the Hope of Elantris is on Brandon Sanderson's website, if anybody wants it.
Both The Hope of Elantris and The Emperor's Soul dramatic audio are also free right now.
Yeah, well, so the whole book is literally just on the webpage.
Oh.
When he originally published it, it was posted for sale on Amazon, and then once the contract ran out, he just published it on his website.
That's fair.
So, I'm just gonna put that in the Discord. If anyone's interested in reading it, you can catch it literally right
He's
there.
got graphic novels.
He
I
does have
appreciate
graphic
I
novels.
appreciate that his books on his website are listed based on the verse they're in. There's the Cytoverse and the Cosmere. Don't know what the Cytoverse is though.
Anyway, do we want to do rankings? Or ratings?
Yeah, sure. Okay, wait, let me back up. Kev.
Oh, yeah.
This is how we, and chat, for anyone who may have forgotten, this is how we do our rankings. We have the 1 through 5 star. 1 star means below average, did not finish. I think we're all above that. 2 stars is readable, found it just okay. 3 stars is good, I liked it, nothing crazy mind-blowing. 4 stars is enjoyable, I liked it very much, but not on my top reads. And 5 stars is, I loved it, I'm gonna tell other people to read it.
Do you have this pinned somewhere?
No, but I could put it in my. I'll put it in the Discord.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, it's built into our podcast script, which is top secret, obviously.
obviously, because I don't know why. Okay.
This is
Here we go.
pre-scripted?
Only the part where it
Literally just
sounded
the
like we
intro.
were scripted.
I was gonna say, for every episode we have the intro, and then I like to add a little author book blurb, although it's probably over the top and unnecessary.
I think it's.
But I like it. And then sometimes we'll have some discussion prompts in, just to like. I like to do it in case I forget what I wanted to talk about during the episode, so I'll like throw it in the script. But none of the actual discussion is scripted.
All right. So for me, the way I would rate this is, the thing is, I'm torn because I don't know a lot of people who would read this kind of fantasy, and I married one of the few people I do know. So I'm like, I don't know. Like, if you don't like fantasy, I'm not going to tell you to read it. If you're not like prepared to absorb a world, because that can be hard for people who don't do fantasy. I've learned this lately, that if you don't do fantasy, it's hard to get into fantasy because you got to make everything up from scratch. So like anyone who tells me like they like fantasy, I'd be like, oh, have you read Elantris? So I think that means it's a 5, but it's like a 4.5, 5 for me. We can't do halves though, so
Why can't we do halves?
I'm gonna round it up. Even numbers, even. I mean, you don't have to do an even number, but for the sake of Addy and I, we have to do an even number.
Yeah. So you said 4 or 5.
I rounded it up to 5 because I was between a 4 and a 5.
Then I'm gonna round down to 4 because if I'm honest, I did like it, but the pacing did throw me off. I promise I'm not actually knocking a star for spice, for lack of spice. But
Are
for
you
me, like,
sure?
I'm sure I'm not that petty. I mean, I'm a little bit that petty, but I'm not that petty. But for me, the pacing really was like I was disappointed that the beginning felt very, very immersive and honestly almost too long. And then the end, like, aggressively threw us, like, plot twist, climax, resolution, you're done.
Have you ever read a Wheel of Time book?
I have not.
So it is very similar to the pacing of the 80s when this book came out. That was just sort of the high fantasy read.
I mean, fair. It's just not my favorite.
I have one more comment about the book, which was when we got to the point
Also,
when they were
Kevin, it
like,
was published in
this
2005.
It's crazy. It's written very similarly to like older books. Oh God.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
So it
made me think it was older.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say when they got to the point when they were like,
And
oh,
he says
this
try to
kid
be
who's talking all the numbers all the time is also an Elantrian too. I just forgot he had existed, and I felt really bad.
I am still just astonished that they invented feet. But if I were to rate this, I would, I guess, put it at a 4. To be honest, I want to put it at like a 3.5, which is not a part of your rating system. I very much enjoyed this book. I don't think it's mind-blowing in the scheme of a bunch of other fantasy novels that I've read. None of the characters are particularly... Like, they're all interesting characters, and I think they're all well-developed, to be honest. If based on your rating system of... Well, okay, maybe I'll stick to a solid 4, because I liked it very much, but not a top read. I don't think I'm giving it to everybody. Would I tell my dad to read this? Yes. Could my mom get through this book? Absolutely not.
That's why I was like, it comes with a caveat of fantasy, and then also with the caveat of, as a fantasy lover, you're gonna accept shit People are gonna throw stuff at you and say fantasy, and you're gonna be like, nobody's good at it, so give it to me.
I mean, there are a lot of terrible fantasy books I read.
There are so many.
This is definitely up there in my fantasy books. There are so many poorly written, no character plot. Characters' death mean nothing because they don't actually die. I am throwing this shade directly at ACOTAR. I cannot stand a fantasy book that death does not mean death, and like they have a big sacrifice at the end, but then they get brought back anyways. Like the sacrifice means nothing. So it felt like there was sacrifice in this book, and I enjoyed that death means death. So it passes my check on a fantasy book.
I guess that's fair. We came very close to death, but didn't actually kill Rodin.
Yeah.
Just kill them off and let me be sad. Honestly,
Yeah,
me too, Pinky.
Here's
Me
the thing
too.
about Riordan's. While it was very rushed, the entire book was leading to him figuring it out, right? Like, it wasn't, like, out of nowhere. He was researching it the whole time. He was constantly trying to figure out the
I just meant,
magic.
like, he got really, really close to dying.
Yeah.
But then
versus, like,
he was literally, like, inches from it, but we didn't kill him. But it
Yeah.
wasn't like he died and we brought him back sort of thing.
Oh, no. Like, my
Yeah.
example from ACOTAR is literally a character dies, and they use a never been used before reason in the entire series to bring back a character because they like that character. Like there's just, and we all gave him a little bit of our life essence, and he came back to life. When was that established? You could do that. Like, that is the kind of death I hate.
Yeah, not great.
I will say, if you liked this book, what it reminded me a lot of, and this might just speak to my lack of fantasy experience, although I got super, super, super into fantasy, like, I don't know, 10 years ago. So this might be a little dated, but if you liked this one, I would definitely recommend reading some of the Valdemar universe by Mercedes Lackey, because I think the pacing is a little bit better for my taste, but the content, the world building, the immersiveness feels very related.
So true. Lycosi, you are correct.
similar
I would have still loved it if he died, but I don't know if other people are as into killing off main characters as I am.
would have been fine if Riordan died. I think it would have played into the story if, like, Riordan died and Galadon carried on the magic.
I'm kind of, I wouldn't have liked it as much if Riordan had died. He was my favorite character of the book, honestly.
I do think it was iconic, Sereni waiting in the room, and he's like, this is very untraditional, and she's like, this was my third wedding.
This is my third wedding, and you
get away.
You stood me up.
I love that she was basically like, your face is a little funky, but we're gonna work around that because I don't care anymore. I'm thirsty.
Honestly.
Okay, out of curiosity, what is a book you would give the 5-star, I'll recommend it to anyone, I just want other people to experience this book?
Our first episode where we talked about Cersei was for sure that for me. For sure.
And then our second episode was a solid 3. And I think this is balancing our third episode out to a 4.
Yeah.
So now we have to find a DNF book.
Oof. No.
No, I'm kidding.
I have a few of those for you.
Hopefully none of these will be a DNF, but I mean, the whole point is we're picking books we've never read before, so you never know. We'll see what happens.
What about you, Rina? A book you would hit your 5-star, always recommend this?
I mean, see, the out is I picked Cersei after I read it to make Addy read it, so it was a 5-star before we even had a podcast. Otherwise, I haven't reread it in a while, but fantasy-wise, another 5-star for me is The Name of the Wind. Big fan of that. But it's an unfinished series, and it's been like 15 years. So, you know. I can only recommend it so much because I feel the pain of an unfinished series.
Respectable.
I will tell everyone to read it, but I will caveat, don't hurt yourself.
Not fantasy, but I always swing out Vicious by V.E. Swab.
Oh my god, yeah, you told me that. I downloaded it on my Kindle. My Kindle is... Okay, so I have 2 Kindles, and by that I mean I have my Kindle attached to Kevin's Amazon account, and then I have Yosef's Kindle attached to our Amazon account. And I just read Kevin's books, and then when I want to read my own books, I go steal Yosef's Kindle.
I've been slowly and aggressively bullying Rina into actually reading this series called Ascendance of a Bookworm.
I'm pretty good. I'm getting through it. We finally met, what's his name? Sylvester. I met Sylvester today.
Nice. You're on book 4.
I have no idea. I haven't been paying attention to the book numbers.
I know what book you're on.
Kevin, with confidence. I know.
But yeah, if any of y'all are...
I have read all 30 of the books that are out at least twice.
If y'all are familiar with the anime Ascendance of a Bookworm, it's about a cute little girl with like indigo hair trying to make books. That's what we're talking about. We're reading the original source.
Yeah, dropped into a new world where they're basically medieval England. There's no printing press, and she has to invent her way into actual books existing.
Oh, that's cool.
So that she can achieve her dream of just living surrounded by books again.
It is a huge spoiler, but not actually plot relevant. One of my favorite things that happens in that entire series is she's basically told she's gonna get married to someone, and she's like, "I want my dowry to be a library."
What a bitch!
And basically, they're told, "You will bankrupt the country. Stop that."
I mean, gotta do what you gotta do.
I love that she did that. Of course she fucking did.
So?
Yeah, but it starts when she's like 5 and then continues on.
Yeah,
so.
like there is no time skip. Like you get her going through the whole journey. It is very cute.
You get year by year.
It is honestly my cottagecore read. It is actually my 5 of 5 series. Like it is my all-time favorite series as a series. I will say it is a very slow building show. It builds the whole world, and it builds every aspect of the world.
Well, that's the thing. It builds the world as she becomes familiar with it. So you learn about things when she learns about things. So you learn about the life of the poor people in the world, because that's all that, she was born into a peasant family. And then you learn about the life of, like, the temple when she gets old enough to go to the temple once. And, like, it kind of snowballs from there as she learns more about the world outside of her poor little house. But, yeah, in the very beginning, it's a lot of, well, I'm used to automatic doors and flushing toilets and my own bedroom. Why do the 4 of us sleep in a single studio apartment? That is dank and dirty. And no one ever sweeps the floor.
Hey, she gets rich fairly quick inventing soap.
She does.
That's
no, it wasn't. It wasn't soap. It was
shampoo. It's shampoo.
Yeah, it was shampoo. Because then everybody was like, "Oh my god, your hair looks like a rich girl's," and she was like, "I just have this shampoo. You want to buy it?"
Hey,
power move.
Gotta invent your way out of poverty.
And she gets really good at the, "Hey, do you want to buy this?" And it's amazing. She's like, "Oh shit, I'm running low on funds."
Hey,
you want to buy this?
Rina, I cannot wait until you see her invent Italian food.
Oh, the shop is opening, the eatery or whatever it is opening
pizza.
soon. I'm in spring. I'm in spring, so it's gonna open imminently.
Inventing pizza in a Japanese-based book is hilarious.
Oh no.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, she was like, let's go for an Italian eatery. I would rather do Japanese, but we don't have any Japanese-based ingredients because this is like almost a medieval Europe style place. So I guess Italian food?
honestly appreciated, because a lot of the times in otome isekai, I'm gonna be honest, in otome isekai garbage that I read at an alarming rate, my pace on that shit is shocking.
I mean, yeah, I go through a lot of garbage too. I
But,
have
like-
moved to consuming it in the form of webcomics now. That's where I get my garbage.
That's where I get mine too.
I don't read my
But
garbage
the
as
content,
much
the
anymore.
content is like, oh, I'm reborn in this world. I'm gonna feed my family kimchi, and I'm like, that's definitely an acquired taste. If you've never had anything but European food and you start with homemade kimchi, like,
Ugh.
and the people who eat it are like, oh, this is amazing, and I'm like, that. Don't get me wrong, I love kimchi now.
Unrealistic.
But the first time I tried it,
yeah, unrealistic view.
yeah. Like, don't get me wrong.
And that's the thing.
The variety of Asian cuisine is incredible, but like
in Bookworm, she also goes, even if I had the ingredients, I doubt these people would like Asian food. And I was like, thank God,
sorry.
the only
Pinky.
awareness she has.
To answer Pinky's question, I love politics in a book. I am a big fan of Attack on Titan Season 2. I'm a big fan of, actually pretty much any book that does politics as its form of war. Which is what that is, right? Like, it's my side versus your side, the powerhouse in the room wins. I very much enjoy political fighting, versus don't get me wrong, I think every show has its room for an action scene. However, not everything needs to be blood and gore. And I think the opposite, like the pole of that, is the politics moves.
Yeah, you can't have just magic or like anything else without a little bit of politics. I liked it because
Elantris
the
was
politics
definitely heavy politics.
Yeah, for Elantris, it definitely built they built the world through politics.
Although,
Like all of the world building was in the politics.
God King Wern doesn't seem to be very political. It seems to be what he says is law.
I mean, God King Wern, exactly. No, I loved the politics, and that's why I like Braithon. I'm gonna try to say it. I called him Rathon the whole time. So
it is.
I loved him because he was all about the politics. He was like, how can I use the politics to make this the least devastating, like, intervention possible, while still achieving the goal that I have a deadline for.
Which felt so, with Deloff, felt kind of empty if Deloff was actually there the whole time to ruin that anyways. Like, I don't know, to me...
Deloff was stationed there decades ago, though. So, like...
Yeah, I guess that's true. So Deloff was probably the one being like, hey, send a priest so we can prepare ourselves to fucking take over Aerolon.
I think Deloff was like, send somebody to be a distraction while I get our shit together. And then he was like, okay, time to just do whatever I want to do.
Although,
I think Deloff was making his own decisions.
See, here's the thing with Deloff, though. He kind of had that, like, and Elantris didn't help me mentality, and I was like, what? A bitter little boy. Like, I don't know.
Oh my god, so
well,
bad.
his motivation for going on a multiple decades long rampage was like, oh, they fucked up healing this one time on my wife, and I'm upset about it.
Yeah, and she was actually the first of the cursed Elantrians, is actually what happened. Once you hear the description, she was the first cursed Elantrian, where she was going to become a full Elantrian and paused partway through the process, and thus was permanently stuck in the pain that she felt.
Which probably means that that's when the, like, chasm had actually started forming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I just felt like we haven't, I don't know, worked through this a little bit in the multiple decades since. But, you know, that aside.
So, Pinky, my thought on Wraithen, and Deloff. See, in the scheme of, like, war, Aerolon had held strong for so long because of its, like, political and capital. So, the need, like, when you have a country willing to bend the knee basically to money, you're better off, like, like just political sense, like not even in the book. If you can force them to give up basically their sovereignty strictly because you're like, and we can provide you money, why not do that instead? Like I think
that's what happened. I think that
sorry.
I think that like all of that was what was going on, and then Dilaf was just like, nah, whatever, fuck it, I'm gonna intervene now because it doesn't matter.
No, and so what I really think was happening is the king really was like, hey, you have 3 months, convert them, because Dilaf was like, I can take them. And so the king was probably like, okay, you have 3 months to convert them, if not, I already have force there.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why it was a very clear, like, 3 months to the day, it wasn't him sending ships, it was just activate the sleeper force, like...
I was wondering also if part of it was a test for Grafin. Grafin. Only in the sense that, like, it felt like Dilaf towards the end, like, when they were having a confrontation, Dilaf was like, oh yeah, what you were doing here didn't matter the whole fucking time.
Yeah, but I think that's because Dilaf was gonna do what he was gonna do.
Yeah,
regardless.
I think that was Dilaf's plan, not Wern's plan. But I think Dilaf is powerful enough, and the monks are powerful enough that Wern probably wouldn't have argued against him. Like,
yeah, it would have just been like, if you get the goal done, I don't care.
Like, we talk about God King Wern and how absolute his authority is. No one's authority is actually that absolute, and like, Dilaf being that powerful and in control of that powerful of a monk society, if he wanted to take over, he probably could have overthrown Wern. Like, it sounds like without the Elantris magic, the most powerful magic is those monks.
Fair. Hey, we ready to play some Stardew?
Addy's like, Stardew time!
No, I just looked at the clock and it's like 7:20.
It's okay. Pinky gave everyone warning that we were probably going to go over our hour-long time.
No, I'm not over Elantris. I just missed
Addy said,
guys.
shut up, I want to play Stardew.
What I actually want to do is hear about Rina's vacation.
Okay,
it's
well...
on sale on Steam right now.
What, Stardew?
Yeah.
Stardew? Do you want to play with us?
Yes.
Also, you don't own Stardew? Who are you?
I am, well, yeah, I don't.
You've had like 10 years at this point.
Do you have the DLC?
There's DLC. What are you talking about?
There's DLC. It's on sale for $2.99 right now.
It's probably like an audio thing.
It's an extra soundtrack. Fuck.
Yeah. I was gonna say we don't need the soundtrack. It's okay.
Alright, well then I'm just buying the game. I don't want to play today, but
I was gonna say we can add you to our farm, no problem.
I'm going to figure out food and whatever I'm doing for dinner because
That's a good plan.
I do have to get up at 4 in the morning.
Oh god.
Yeah, my beautiful life at work starts at 6:30, so I have to get up at like 4:30 so I can walk my dog in the mornings, and then I go to work for 10 beautiful hours, and then I come home, and now I'm hungry.
That's fair. Honestly, we're gonna take a break in between podcast and game because I need to go seek out food as well.
Completely valid.
But before we do, I do want to say, Addy, how's your calendar for the 24th? You want to do 2 weeks?
The 24th?
Does that sound good? You want to go longer? That's good?
What's your next book?
It's Addy's pick this time. So, Addy, you want to announce what the next book is?
Yeah. Next week, we're doing a mystery thriller called What Lies in the Woods by Kate Alice Marshall. It is a Goodreads Choice Award, and the little blurb is pretty intriguing. I don't want to read the whole thing because it's kind of long and I know everybody's hungry. But it should be quite good. Like I said, it's a mystery thriller. Kind of like revisiting a crime as an adult, a crime that was committed on children. So if that's going to be a trigger for you, just be aware. But I'm looking forward to it. I hope you guys are too. Pinky is. I don't know how bad it's gonna be.
The child survives. In the description,
I was gonna
tells
say
you what
the child
happens.
survives. I just want you guys to be aware that if that is gonna be particularly triggering for you, I don't know. Proceed with caution, I guess. Do what's best for you. But it looks really good. I'm really excited about it. So I hope you guys. This is definitely one that I want to join the audio listening session if Pinky hosts it. If not, I might host one or co-op Rina's Discord to host one.
Go right ahead and use my Discord for it. That's totally fine.
How long is this? 11 hours and 16 minutes. That's not too bad.
We usually cut it up into 4 or 5 hour listening sessions, unless we get excited and listen for like 8 hours. But
I was gonna say, I was like, you have 2 weeks. How long of a book is it?
It's not too long. This is not a Brandon Sanderson length novel. But that's our next book. Kate Alice Marshall, What Lies in the Woods. If you want to join us, Pinky,
actually,
you and I can collab. If you don't feel comfortable hosting it, I will. If you want to start it and pass it off to me, we can do that too. Like if you start it and you're like, this is too much for me, I can hop into.
Bam! So, look at me.
Yeah.
I
Rina,
already updated it.
Beautiful. So that'll
I'm on
be,
top of it.
What did we say, Rina? The 24th?
Yes, the 24th. It's pinned in the chat as well.
Right, hells yeah. 24th at 6 p.m. What Lies in the Woods by Kate Alice Marshall. See you there. Be there or be square. Or be a circle. Whatever you want. Whatever feels right.
What a clip.
All right. And with that, we're going to head off to take a break. And we'll be back with Stardew in 7 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm going to aim for the 30, but if we miss it, sorry, not sorry.